This meeting is called to order at 6:30 p.m. on Monday, October 23rd, 2017. This meeting is being recorded. I move to accept the minutes of last week's meeting, October 16th, as written.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Minutes of last week are accepted. Okay, announcements. I only have a couple. Tomorrow night, the School District Budget Committee will be meeting at the school library, 7 p.m. And then on Thursday, the Troy Budget Committee will be meeting at the Samuel E. Paul Community Center at 6:30 p.m. All are invited. Barbara, do you have any announcements?
No.
Curtis, any announcements?
No, I do not.
Okay. Old business complaints. Map 32, Lot 2A, Richmond Road. Attorney Little has info. Barbara, have you heard anything from him?
No, we just took it last Friday.
Okay. Ridley map, that's the other attorney. Anything?
Right, no, that's ongoing.
All right. Job descriptions, anything on that?
No, we're supposedly meeting this week if
Okay.
everybody has time.
Forensic audit. Okay, I contacted the county attorney. He has a meeting scheduled with Trooper Eaton, who did the original investigation. That meeting is, I believe, next Monday. And they're going to discuss whether or not they have the ability to prosecute this. Because she's already been on to trial once and took a plea, there may be some legal block that prevents them from proceeding, for adding on to it, in other words. If it was something totally different, I guess you could. But they're not sure they can prosecute. So after Monday, we'll find out, number one, can they prosecute? If it turns out they can, then they'll decide whether or not to.
Okay, will this have any effect on a civil litigation going forward?
Shouldn't. I don't think so. But that will be a question for our own attorney.
Okay.
But one thing, though, is if the county attorney either cannot or chooses not to prosecute, then the forensic audit is no longer evidence in a criminal trial and it becomes public information. So have you had a chance to scan that into a PDF document yet? I would suggest doing that at your first opportunity, because eventually it's going to be posted on the website. Yeah. You still there, Curtis?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, we heard some weird sounds coming out of the speaker. Okay, any questions on the forensic audit? Fundraiser, anything further on that, Alissa? No? Troy Redevelopment Group, any information on that, Curtis?
Nope.
Central Square complaint. Attorney Little has the info. That's the same as the other one?
Yes, they're ongoing.
Okay. Troy Mills parking lot. We keep tabling. What is the issue right now with the Troy Mills parking lot?
Is that Change Trucking was supposed to get back to us and get all their stuff out of there because they haven't paid rent since
Right.
March.
Okay, so he's no longer actively using it, correct?
Well, there's still a mess down there.
It's a mess.
But he's not actively using it.
No,
He left stuff behind.
I don't know.
We don't know.
And you can't reach him?
I did reach him at one point and he said he was working on getting all the logs out of there and
Yeah.
get it cleaned up, and then he was gonna get caught up with payment.
Okay. If he said he's going to get caught up with payment, it sounds like he wants to continue the lease.
I don't think he does. I think he just wants to pay for the months he hasn't paid.
Okay. All right. Stay on top of it. Okay, new business. It looks like our tax rate, it's not finalized yet, but it looks like the tax rate for next year will be $34.19. We have a letter here from Sharon LaFlamme. It's an email, actually. She runs yoga at the community center. Alissa, I guess you were part of that conversation with her?
No, she had come, made a complaint to me about having to go down to the community center and clean up tables and chairs.
Right,
before her yoga
that's the
class.
conversation with her.
Yes, but then she, I told her I would, share it with Bob, and so I let him know. And then she had her own conversation with Bob, and that's what the email
Right.
was.
I'm curious, why is she not paying rent?
She pays rent. I think it's just at a discounted rate
Oh, okay, all right,
because it's an ongoing yoga class.
okay, all right, so it's a negotiated rate.
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello. Why again?
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Sure.
what was the previous tax rate?
About $2.50 more. I don't know the exact amount.
36.62.
36.62.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Okay, let me dig out that letter from Sharon.
I have a question. Isn't it the rec's job to, they set up tables and chairs, isn't it there for events? It's not their responsibility to tear
No.
them down?
Remember now, it's not Rex building.
It may as well be.
They are the primary user of that building, but they do not have the responsibility for that building, and that is why one of the budgets we're looking at tonight is the Samuel E. Paul Community Center with Jim.
But he takes part of it, they take the other part. There's two parts to that budget for the rec center.
No, there aren't. It's not a rec center, it's a community center.
Whatever.
There were not two parts. There were two separate budgets. There's a
Correct.
budget for the Recreation Committee, which is what they use for programs that they run. There's a separate budget for the Samuel E. Paul Community Center, which is for building maintenance. It used to be combined. 2 years ago, we split it
Correct.
because they don't have responsibility for that building.
Okay, so what are you saying about the tables and chairs?
Not what I'm saying, what she's saying. She's saying that based upon the rental policy, when she comes in there, it should be free of tables and chairs. But other people who have rented it have not cleaned up, and she's coming in and she's having to fold up the tables and chairs herself.
So what is the policy is what I'm asking.
Well, I don't have it, but based on what she has quoted in here, says users are fully responsible for their own setup and cleanup for the event. All tables require at least 2 adults to set up and move. And whoever is using the facility prior to her yoga class is leaving the tables and chairs set up. And that's what she's complaining about. So Alissa, would you set up a meeting for us with her and with Bob and with Jim? Thank you. As soon as we can do it, but not before Thursday.
With just you?
Yeah, that'll be simpler. Do you want to be in on that?
Well, then we have to post it.
Then it becomes a meeting and we go
Right.
through all the rigmarole. So yeah, just me. All right. Okay, 2018 election ballot, New Hampshire Association of Assessing Officials. That's just something we have to sign. Okay, Be Fresh Chris Stewart agenda request form. I took a glance at this thing, and I really don't know what it's about. Find it in here. Here it is. So did he come in and submit this?
He did. I wasn't here. Marcy took
Okay.
it.
He's got a business card, and I can read the business card. I can't read his handwriting. In fact, he printed it, and I can't read it. You want to give it a shot?
Oh, it's nothing but his address. Super fun site, possible solar project development. Please call to discuss. He wants to sell us solar energy,
Okay.
and that's all it says. Call and make an appointment. That's
Who
what he
owns the
wants.
site? Do we own it, or does the state or the feds?
He doesn't even have it on here.
No, but we should know that. Do you know, Alissa?
Well,
The
how would
the
we know?
Superfund site?
Isn't that the one that just got turned over? Is there a letter in there? I have to talk to Jimmy about it.
Well, he's coming.
All right, well, let's just
It's
table this until he comes in.
let's put it back to complete it.
Can't understand you, Curtis.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, you're loud, but not clear.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of static on this side. You're very faint.
Wait. Try it now. Say something, Curtis.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, the speaker was upside down. Sorry about that.
So if it's not complete, the agenda request form, if it's not complete, he needs to be notified and he needs to fill it out so we understand what he wants, what he's looking for.
Well, it's not that it's incomplete, it's that I don't know that we're the owners of that site anymore, are we?
I'm gonna check with.
We'll check with, he's coming in later with the budget, we'll check with him when he comes in. Okay, New Hampshire DES letter for Troy landfill sampling. There's a quite lengthy letter in there, and I glanced at it. I haven't had a chance to read the whole thing. So let's just table that until I have a chance to actually read it. That completes new business. Henry?
Yes. I'm here.
Come on in.
I'm up.
Are you the only one from the planning board?
I was told Bob Luopa, the chair, might attend,
Yeah.
but he's not here. So
Mike, so
I think we should just
pull up a chair.
jump in. Yeah. I have one handout. And Curtis, I'm sorry
Thank
I
you.
didn't think to email this, but this is I've handed out something that's consistent with what we talked about last week.
Okay, I'll look it along, and if I have any questions, I'll ask.
So, this is the first time I've come to a select board meeting to go over the budget, and I don't know whether I could go through each line if you like.
Yeah, we
Just
go by
briefly
line.
say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, an easier way to do it might be let's just have you go over the lines where there's a change.
Mhm.
And then if we have any questions about any remaining lines, we may say, well, on this line, even though there's no change, why do you want that amount?
Mhm.
And we may discuss that. So the first change is the planning board clerk. It looks like it's a $28 reduction.
That's right, and so I know townwide there were some changes in compensation, and I think following that, Alissa sent me a note with a current,
Reduction?
profit and loss, budget,
Yes.
and she had filled in that line as well as the Social Security and
Correct.
workers' comp. So those are as was shared with me.
Transmitted to you.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And in general, I know the planning board's comfortable with keeping the planning board clerk budget as is. So that's it wasn't a significant, we didn't feel it was a significant change.
Okay, I have a question. You're on advertising, you're asking for $250. And, okay, it's right in line. You have 2 months to go yet.
Yeah, and
You've only used 12% of your budget.
Okay. I want to go over the changes first. Consultant, line 783. We're going from 2,000 to 2,500, an increase of $500, a 25% increase.
okay, and so that line for at least the 3 or 4 years I've been with the board has gone towards compensating Carol Ogilvy for basically technical assistance in drafting new language for ordinances, our annual zoning amendments, providing us feedback on site plans or subdivision plans as we look at those. And my understanding is that she pretty much has been billing that full $2,000 amount. The reason why we're proposing increasing is because we see a lot more activity in 2018 related to the town's need to update the master plan. And in reality, this would just be scratching the surface, but we know we're going to need to rely on her more in 2018 to work on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And just to keep the air clear, Curtis and I were both in on the discussion last week at the planning board, so this is not new to us. Barbara, you're hearing it for the first time.
Yes, I'm on here.
Yeah. So Barb, do you have any questions about that line?
Yeah, no.
Okay. All right, and then we have a new line in here. We're adding in community outreach for $250. Henry, could you tell us what that's going to be?
Of course. So community outreach, again, this is related to where the board sees, needs in 2018. A master plan update requires public engagement. Everyone in town, whether it's postcards or appearing at existing events or organizing our own events. And the reason we added it is because we didn't feel that some of those expenses would be in line with the other categories we had. So I mentioned postcard, maybe designing a postcard or buying some pizzas for a community forum to get people talking. Maybe it's, advertising might be covered. The advertising line as it's written, I think, is more towards
Legal notices?
legal notices and abutter notices, exactly. But
Well, that goes back to my point of you've only used 12% of that budget.
yeah,
And now you're asking for basically the same amount for the community outreach.
and so the community, right, and so I think what people have talked about for community outreach are things that wouldn't fit into existing categories. For example, maybe it's getting some food for an event. But coming up to advertising, this is one of the categories in our budget that is generally fully reimbursed by applicants for people subdividing land or businesses going through site plan review. And so it's kind of fickle year to year as to how much that gets drawn down. If a big project came up with 20 abutters, it would go a long way towards that. What you've seen here is it's been kind of a quiet year for need for advertising, but it could easily, it could conceivably exceed that amount with some more major applications.
Okay.
Any
Fine.
questions? Okay. Anything else you'd like to add before we move and vote?
No.
Okay. I move that we recommend a budget of $7,223 for the planning board for 2018.
I second.
7,002,
7223.
7223.
And that's
Okay.
up
I'll
from
second it.
6,500.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, Barbara already seconded it.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I didn't hear her. Sorry.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 So the planning board budget is recommended as presented. Just in time, Bob.
Just in time. I thought it was 7 o'clock, 6:30, was it?
It probably was, but we were ahead of schedule.
Okay, okay.
Henry was already
Henry,
here.
you okay? Good.
Yeah, so we just approved, we recommended approving the budget as
That's the-
submitted. So the
Okay.
next stop is the budget committee.
Yep, yes, that is next,
It's November 2nd.
November
We got a
2nd.
little time.
Wear helmets.
Day after our meeting, right, Henry? We have one on the
Yeah.
1st.
Yep.
So,
You got it. Great.
so we're all set?
Thank you.
You're all set.
Okay.
Whoa. Thanks for stopping in, Bobby.
Thank you.
In and out, that's what I like. Hey, you all set?
Okay, now Bob Hebert is not coming in, correct?
No,
We're just going to discuss the emergency
no longer
management
here.
I
budget.
thought Neil Richardson.
Dave's coming in. What's his name, Neil?
No, Neil Richardson I thought was supposed to be coming in.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah.
But, not here yet.
Come on, Jimmy.
Jimmy,
How are you, Jim?
Good, I think.
Before we get into your budget, we had an agenda request form here from somebody who wants to build a solar panel array over the Superfund site. Are you familiar with this? Okay.
Oh,
Uh,
Alyssa's
who owns that now?
Who owns what?
The Superfund site, do we own it? Or did the state or the feds
It's not
take?
the Superfund, is it? Oh,
Well, he
this
says-
one.
I can't even read his printing.
Okay. Right here,
It is Superfund?
Superfund
Okay.
site.
Well, I don't know,
Isn't
that
that
one
what
I'm
that
not,
says?
that one I'm not aware of. What's the company? No. No, I was putting together one for our landfill.
Okay. But the question that came up, that's what we held this for you, is who owns the Superfund site? I know we had some people in here a few months back from the state and EPA came in together. And I'm just wondering, did they take possession of that land?
I don't believe so.
So the town still owns
I
it?
think don't quote me on it, because I
Okay.
don't know that for a fact, but I believe we still own it, and they took over.
All right. Okay, Alyssa, would you check that? And you'll probably find it in the minutes from when we had those visitors several months back.
Man, I think it was.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Neil's here. Should we have, Neil will be quick, so should we have
Yes.
him come in?
Yeah,
You
because
can
he's
stay
on
where
the
you
he's
are,
on the
Jeff.
agenda for
Stay where
6:50.
you are.
Come on in, Neil.
Yeah, there's another chair.
Who's next?
Hi Neil, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Okay, we have the emergency management budget. All we have here is what we had last year. Do you have any changes to it?
No.
Okay. I had some questions about it. One of the reasons that we wanted to have either you or Bob come in instead of just saying okay and writing off on it has to do with the amount that was spent. The date on this is October 2nd, the printout that I have.
Okay.
And as of that date, only $560 had been spent out of a $4,500 budget. And I know that what usually happens is anything that's unspent rolls over into a capital reserve fund.
Correct.
General
And
fund, yeah.
my concern is when we do that, we do that with other departments as well. One of the reasons we do that is to encourage people to come in under budget, so that if you have a little bit of change left at the end of the year, instead of just losing it, it rolls over into the capital reserve. But I don't think it was ever intended that 90% of it would roll over. And that's what we have here.
So what I know, this is what I know. Part of that is payroll, or not payroll, but our, the stipend that Bob and I get.
Yeah, 1530.
Yep.
Yeah. So that gets paid out before the end of the year, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I know, typically we'll go through the trailer and replace anything that's been expired.
Uh-huh.
And we usually wait towards the end of the year. That way we know, at that point, no emergencies have occurred that require
Okay.
what's there.
Yep.
I do know that we're gonna have to pay out for, or we've got the local emergency operation plan. We just got approved for the grant. We've got a, what is it, 25% match, I think?
I don't know.
I just got the paperwork.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah. So we've got some coming out of that as
Okay.
well.
All right.
And the equipment purchase is for what?
I don't know. Bobby had been taking care of all of the budget stuff.
But that would be like the stuff that you mentioned.
Right,
the
going through
the
the
trailers.
trailers.
and the trailers.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
See, in a perfect world, what we would do is we wouldn't roll any of it over to capital reserve. Instead, in a separate warrant article where we put the deposits into the capital reserve funds, we'd include it there. We'd say, okay, over a period of 10 years, we know how much we're going to need, and just spread it out. The whole idea of a capital reserve fund runs like a Christmas club.
Yep.
So you get to spread the costs out over the years.
That's all well and good if we don't have a disaster of some sort.
Well,
correct?
let's not have one then.
Good plan.
Yeah,
If we could plan it, we would.
yeah. All right, you see where I'm going with that, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, what I'd like to do is go ahead and recommend that we do it that way for one more year, but it's something I think we need to look at for the future. I think we need to determine what we need long-term for emergency management and set up the capital reserve funds with a regular deposit instead of doing it the way we're doing it. So, but
How much is a culvert?
How much is it? Depends on what you're talking.
that could be anything. Yeah.
Right, and that's sort of what,
Yeah. Okay. But see, if the money is in capital reserve and then something comes up, or an expendable trust fund, then the money is still there to tap into if we need it. And there's always, we can do what we did with the roof of this building a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, where in the middle of the summer, we needed $30,000 or $35,000 to fix the roof. We held an emergency meeting of the budget committee, got approval from DRA, and voted to spend that money, even though it hadn't been previously appropriated. So there are ways to handle it.
But they still will need to have some sort of a budget.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. But for now, what I'd like to do is, I move that we recommend $4,571 as the emergency management budget for 2018.
Wait a second. The payroll changed, and also the property insurance changed, and social
Okay.
security.
All right, let me reword the motion. I move that we recommend a budget of $4,571 for emergency management for 2018, subject to increases in payroll accounts, postage account, social security, workers' comp, property insurance, anything else that comes up later in the year that we don't yet know about. Which we do with every section of the budget anyway. Would someone
Second.
like, second, okay? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Well said.
alrighty.
Good. Thank you, Neil.
At some point, the select board's going to need to appoint an emergency management director.
Yes,
And RSA 21, P39 tells you the process.
okay. Are you interested in that position?
Yes, I would
Okay,
accept that if it was offered.
all right. Alissa, would you put that on our agenda to discuss, let's say next week?
Yes.
I was gonna say when we have a vacancy somewhere in the agenda, but that's not gonna happen for quite a while with the budget. Okay. All right. And think about an assistant,
Okay.
because we don't know who to appoint.
Long distances.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Neil.
All right, Jim, we got a whole bunch of budgets for you here.
Make yourself comfortable, Jimmy.
Oh, I see we've already got your 2018 figures entered into here. Good, thank you,
Yeah,
that
some
makes
of
it.
them have got to be changed, because we still don't have a line item for replacing me.
For the other position. Yeah, okay.
So actually the top one up here for Public Works Director is wrong,
All right, well,
because it's gonna have to be cut.
let's talk about the mechanics of doing that.
Okay.
And we talked earlier about adding a position in there, bringing on your replacement so there's an overlap throughout the winter. The simplest way to do that is just to add the salary for that position to the same line as yours.
Okay.
We don't have to create a separate line for that. But then when you go away, the strength of that department is the same as it was before.
Right.
And one of the things we discussed was adding a position there. Okay,
But it reflects a full year for me now,
right,
which that's got to be changed back to the end of August.
okay,
So it'll be, 4 months liquidated out of that.
all right. So basically, we're just gonna take 2/3 of this amount for you, and then we
Well,
wanna,
actually 3/4, right? No, you're right, 2/3.
then, the other person coming on, I'm assuming will have a lower salary,
I'm assuming
because
so.
it'll be,
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna find somebody with your level of experience. If we do, they're ready to retire, so
There you
not
go.
much point. So we're gonna need to, we're not gonna pass on this budget tonight, because we're gonna have to discuss the position. But if we're going to take that 54,620 figure for 2018, and we're going to take that, reduce that by a third. But then we're going to add the cost of the new person coming on as of January 1st.
Right. And,
Okay.
and that's only just the start of it, because you're gonna have to change my insurance.
Right, well, that'll happen automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
And
get all of
retirement, and
Yep.
then you gotta find out, you don't even know who you're hiring, so you don't know if you're hiring somebody that's gonna have a single plan for insurance or a family
we,
plan.
we budget for family,
Okay.
on the assumption that that will happen, and then
All right.
if we get a break, we get a break.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I think the way we discussed it was, we'll go ahead and we'll put this in, and we'll discuss it with the budget committee. For that 8-month overlap. If the budget committee is okay with it, we go ahead and we hire the person. If the budget committee recommends against it, it's gonna be a tough sell at town meeting.
Oh, yeah, I agree. But
So if that happens, we're not gonna bring that person on unless we get it approved at town meeting. We'll politic for it, we'll try and convince
I
people
just,
that,
I just honestly feel that
Yeah.
somebody coming on is gonna get blindsided if they
oh,
don't.
you're absolutely right. I think it's absolutely essential
Mm-hmm.
that the new director come on board before the first snowfall.
Well, I'm gonna be before. the
I know,
first
I know,
but close.
yeah, it'll be close. We don't want to go through, we don't want the person next year to be seeing a winter for the first time
Right.
on that job. So we're gonna have to take a bite here.
And we're also gonna be able to cut back on the seasonal labor end of things, because I may not need to use the seasonal
'Cause there'll be
labor
two of you
as
there.
much, because
Yeah.
we'll have the third man on.
Okay. All right, we need to determine what the starting salary should be for the new person. Do we know?
Okay, is he doing one job or is he doing two jobs? Is he doing exactly what Jimmy does?
Right now, for budgeting purposes, yeah, because if you split that, then you end up with more salaries.
Okay, so. Do you
I
think
re-
that's a good idea? I don't know how one person is going to do
I
everything
really
you
think
do.
that it needs to be broke down.
Okay,
I
what
do.
would the breakdown be?
It would be what it was to start with,
Okay,
and that was
I don't know what
highway
that was.
had highway,
Okay,
okay? Transfer station had their own.
okay,
When cemetery had their own.
right,
They were both part-time positions. They weren't full-time positions. But when Chet Priest passed away,
yeah. You inherited
I
that,
just
yeah.
inherited that position. And when things got overwhelming for the position at the transfer station, they put the budget in and whatnot under me.
All right. You think that's a good idea, Barb?
Well, I don't know how a new person coming on is going to balance all these balls. I think that maybe one of the positions could be combined with your position. I don't know what one. Recycling is a lot. I don't know if it could be that one. But what do you think?
I think that it should be three
All
different
separate?
people. Yeah,
Okay.
I really do.
Okay.
All right,
And I think the only reason Jimmy can handle it now is because
grew
he's
into it.
done, right.
yeah.
He's
just grew
done
into it, yeah.
everything
All right.
for so
Well,
long.
in terms of the transfer station, we have somebody working there right now full-time.
Right.
Correct.
Well,
So it's not like,
Well-
it's not like we have to split it and actually create another position. All we're doing is changing the chain of command.
Is
So that
Rod
the
full
highway
time?
department is no
Rod
longer
is
over.
considered full-time, I guess. It's 30, he works 35 hours.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, so
Yeah,
then,
there's a lot to be done down there when the place is closed.
oh yeah.
A lot more
You don't have to
than
tell me,
people-
I
Yeah,
know.
right.
Yes,
Okay. And the cemetery, what does that involve?
That involves budgeting with the commissioners. It involves anybody coming in to buy graves, funerals. If there's funerals during the day, you have to be there to not complete the thing, but you have to, like, the graves are dug after hours.
Right.
Okay, that's a private thing, that's not involved in the town. But when it comes to a funeral, after a funeral, the the vault has to be at least covered. It doesn't have to be completed, but it's
Right.
gotta be covered before the funeral parlor can leave.
Okay,
Okay, so somebody has to be there, a representative from the town,
Right.
from the cemetery, to do
Okay.
that.
Plus
Alright.
keeping up the records.
Yeah,
You
and all the
keep
records.
up all the
where they-
records for the
Yeah.
cemetery.
okay. All right, so that is gonna require hiring a person,
Mhm.
part-time.
Yep.
On call.
I think, yes.
Yeah, I would say the structure of that job will be very similar to the recreation director. We figure out what amount of time you need, and he makes his own hours based on the needs.
The need,
Yeah,
correct.
all right.
Yeah, I think that's.
All
a
right. How
good
many,
idea.
on average, how many, in the course of a year, how many hours a week?
That's a tough one.
How do you
That's
predict
really
how
a
many
tough one.
people are gonna die? You
You
can't,
don't, you really don't know.
and I wouldn't want to predict.
Mm.
You'd scare me if you could. I stay on your good side, though.
Okay, so there's one position that needs to be filled.
Yeah. So in this budget, we're gonna take 2/3 of the 54,620 for Jim, and then we need to come up with a salary for a full year for a new person who is not doing transfer station and cemetery.
Right.
So what do the people in other towns get of similar size?
I really can't tell you.
We'd
Okay.
have to look into
You have
that,
to look into it.
yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking 40,000 would be an annual salary for that job
Well,
to start for a new
probably,
person.
Probably.
I don't know, I don't wanna guess until we,
Well, right, this is just initial budgeting, you know.
okay, okay.
There's room to negotiate with a person afterwards, but, okay, so let's put 40K in for the new person. So we're gonna reduce,
For
And
cemetery.
that also depends now, if you're gonna hire a new person on salary, or you're gonna hire them on
salary,
as,
salary.
then I think you're gonna have to bump that up.
I think you're right. There was an issue, the Labor Department changed something this past year. Are you familiar with this?
No,
Well, there's a salary cutoff where in order to be considered salary and exempt from overtime, you have to make more than a certain amount each year.
oh, yes, I remember
Right. And it's a very small figure. It's been in effect for many years, and the Labor Department increased that to somewhere, was it about 48,000? Yeah. But then a federal court in Texas shot them down.
Oh,
So it's
we're
not
right
in effect.
back.
It's
Okay.
not in effect. And their reason was that the original limit, as low as it is, was set by Congress. And an executive department like the Labor Department can't change legislation.
Can't override it.
Right. So it would have to go back to Congress. Congress would either have to increase it or authorize the Labor Department to increase it, and they haven't done that. But that could happen at any time. And I
But we
suspect,
have to go with what we know now.
well, right now, you could do 40,000 salary. But then if that law changes, then you either have to increase that salary or pay overtime.
That could get pricey.
Yeah.
It sure could.
But, you know, we can't predict the future. We're just making a best guesstimate here. Curtis, what do you think for an amount?
I honestly don't know. I don't know what the level of experience we're going to have for the next person, and the starting salary of somebody coming in with no experience. I actually have no idea how much that would be.
Yeah.
That's where hiring that MRI or whatever that company was really going to
Synergy,
help
yeah.
out with that.
Yeah. Well, that's not going to happen now.
Well, I understand that. It's just I honestly don't have any idea how much
Okay.
someone coming in off the street,
All
no
right.
experience, to some experience, to, you know, I do not want to start them at what Jimmy's making right now. That's really not fair.
Yeah,
Well, we're not-
All around.
especially for somebody doing less work after we strip that job of the transfer station and the cemetery.
Right, we're only talking
Correct.
about the cemetery at
Yeah.
the moment, I thought.
So
Yeah.
40,000 seems legit. It's just I honestly don't
Well,
have any
look at it
idea
this
how
way.
much it would be.
Now, laborer number one. Now we're for the number two person in the department right now. We're budgeting $40,040.
Right,
So we don't want to go below that for the chief.
Right.
So how about 40?
That's also after 29 years.
Yeah, but at the same time, we don't want a situation where the director of the department is making less than somebody, even if the person he's
Yeah.
working over
Mm-hmm.
has been there for 29
So-
years. So,
So let's go with 43,000 then.
okay, I was going to say 42, just to keep it above that number.
Allan, it is going up to 41,267 with that 3% on that list. that you
So,
see.
okay. Are you comfortable with 42,000, Curtis?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, Barbara?
I'm good with 41,247.
I'm trying to keep it simple. Okay. Well, 41,247 is what the number 2 person makes.
Right.
And I want the director to make more than that.
Okay, 42.
So we're going to add 42,000 for that position. We may have to revisit that, and it may get shut down in budget committee. All right, so we're going to take 1/3 off the 54,620 and then add 42, whatever that comes to. Do you have a calculator over there? I don't want to use the one on my phone while I got Curtis on it.
All right, remember?
So take 54,620 times 2 divided by 3. And that comes to,
63,413.
how much?
36,413.
36,413. So Jim, that's what you got for this year, coming year. To that, we're going to add 42,000. So it's going to be 78,413. So we're going to change line 101 from 54,620 to 78,413 to cover the second position. Okay, that takes care of that line. All right, let's just go down this list and see what else is changing here. Okay, overtime. We budgeted 12, you're keeping that at 12.
Yeah, I would say we need to keep it there. It will eventually change in another year
Yeah.
because of salary taken over.
Right,
from
because
Howard.
you'll still be on a
I'm still
non-exempt for the coming year.
Right.
Okay. I'm just gonna look for changes in here.
The seasonal
Okay,
labor will
yeah.
probably change, but not this
Right,
next
okay,
year.
vehicle insurance,
Well, we
When-
have no control over it.
way up, but that's because that's what it costs, okay?
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
$12.90. Computer software.
Mhm.
That's gone up a little.
That's for the package, right?
Catch basin cleaning.
What?
What's that?
The catch basin cleaning. Is that something you do at the end of the year?
I'm lost,
Because
Curtis.
you have.
Catch basin
Oh,
cleaning.
catch basin cleaning?
Yeah, we budgeted 1,200, but haven't spent it yet.
Didn't need to. We didn't put out enough sand last year that.
Okay, so that's just 1,200 bucks we save.
It's just, you put it in there in case we do need to do it.
Yep, okay. And drum oil and grease,
Okay.
you're reducing that from
Yep, I'm
1,500 to
reducing it.
1,000.
Yep.
Okay, cutting back a little bit on electricity based on actual
Just, I'm
history.
just going
Yep.
by what things went like this year.
Okay. Line 336, chipper.
Yeah, there wasn't
Yeah.
anything in the budget for that last year.
We didn't have it. We bought it halfway through the
Oh,
year.
there we go.
Oh, so that was the price of it, right?
No, that's, we paid $2,600. It was,
Okay, what's the $100 that was spent for?
we
Whoa.
didn't spend.
He didn't spend
He didn't
anything.
Well,
Wasn't
actually,
in the-
maybe it's in the wrong line, wrong column, but it says,
Must be.
so far we've spent $100 on that line.
Oh, we did, yeah, this year,
Yeah.
we did.
Right,
Yeah, when Curtis borrowed the chipper and went down to Sand Dam,
uh-huh,
error on his behalf, my behalf, don't know, don't care. There was a problem with it and it got stuck, the clutch got stuck, and I had
Okay.
to have a mechanic come and
Okay.
fix it.
All right. But we're not budgeting anything for the coming year, or we're not budgeting 100.
I'm budgeting 100.
Yeah, okay. All right.
That
Is
just-
that just for filter changes and oil
Yeah.
changes?
Yeah, filter changes, if I have to take the knives out and have them sharpened.
And clutch malfunctions.
Clutch malfunctions.
Okay. And now, equipment repair sand spreaders.
Yep.
So we went over on that this year on the
Yep.
repairs, but,
Yeah, and that's because one of the computers went out,
okay.
which you can't tell when one of them's gonna go.
Okay, and health insurance is down a little bit, but again, that's just whatever it comes in at.
I just bumped that up to 59.25.
Say that again?
50,925.
Oh, because of the added
New
position, right.
took off the other months for Jimmy.
Yeah, okay. Heating oil, cutting back a little bit,
Let's hope the price stays down.
yeah. Salt, down a little bit.
Salt price went down.
Calcium chloride, up, well, from 0 to 200, so.
Yeah, I didn't buy any last year,
Yeah.
so I didn't budget any for last year.
Okay.
About every 2 years I have to get some.
Okay.
You don't want to increase labor contracted services? You went over a little bit, but,
No.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you're gonna
Should
have
be
2
good.
people in there,
Should be
hopefully.
good.
so.
okay.
If the budget committee says no to that position, we'll have to go back and change those lines.
Mhm.
Don't you have a cell phone?
Yes,
Jim, do you
Yeah.
have a cell phone for the highway department or no?
yes I do.
Yes.
Yeah,
A cell phone
yes I do, yes.
for the highway department or through the highway department, or do you use your own personal one?
It is the highway department's.
It's right on here. It's line A12.
Okay, I see it now.
Now, line 985, Alissa, workers' comp, does that paid at the end of the year?
It's paid at January 1st.
Okay, because we only spent 4,000 out of a 13.5 budget.
Because when we switched to that Primex, our workers' comp went down tremendous.
Oh, okay, that's good. Okay,
It looks good on my behalf.
don't get hurt. Okay, I think everything looks good in here.
I agree.
I know that the cell phone is going to get brought up there in the budget committee because you only have one phone, right?
Yep,
There was a question in the budget committee a week and a half ago about your phone and the police department's cell phone and the rec department's cell phone. Alissa, are they all on the same plan or something?
Yes, they are.
Okay, what was the question that came up, Curtis?
I already talked to Lisa about
Oh,
this.
oh,
on
okay,
Thursday.
all right, Alyssa's already talked to Lisa, so we won't worry about it.
Okay, because there was 3 different amounts. That's
Yep.
what the issue was.
Okay. I move that we recommend the highway department budget as written, subject to the changes to salary that we discussed, moving that line up to 78,413, and adding to all of the other insurance and things that go up with the salary. And I haven't computed the amount, so I don't know what it's going to be.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All set on that one, Jim.
so it actually went down
Yep.
10,000.
Well, it'll actually go up.
Yeah, it's gonna go back up, but I mean,
Yeah. We hope it'll go up. Okay, it's transfer station and recycling center. And it looks like a very modest increase of about $3,000. Actually, just a little over $2,000.
I am up in the air on one line item in here, and that is 668.
Monitoring wells.
Yeah, because they did tell me last year there was going to be another increase this year,
Yeah,
and I've been in touch with them for the last 2 weeks, and they still haven't got back to me on where they're at with that.
okay. How much of an increase would they like?
They were talking like $2,000.
All right,
Because I had it down to 8,000. I think it's almost time that we think about changing companies again. 'Cause the
Really?
same thing happened when we were with Dufresne and Henry.
yeah,
And finally we put it out for bid, and this Normandy came in
right,
like almost half of what we were paying.
yeah.
And now all of a sudden they're creeping right up like,
Should we
So-
put it out for bid again, like now?
I think it's a
for
little
the
bit
year?
too late now.
Oh, okay.
Unless they come in with a big increase. If they come in, that's why I want to figure before, I wanted it before I came in here to see just what their increase is gonna be.
Okay.
And I didn't have a chance to do much calling around today, I was very busy, but.
What I would
tomorrow-
recommend is I'd call the guy and just say, look, we put it in the budget for the same amount because you didn't get back to me. If there's gonna be an increase,
Mhm.
I need to know by next Thursday night when I go to the budget committee, or it's gonna get locked in at that amount, and then we have no choice.
Mhm.
And I'm sure they can come up with something between now and then.
Usually I have no problem at all with them, it's
Yeah.
just, that, I don't know, all of a sudden they're dragging their feet.
I mean, they're dealing with a lot of municipalities.
Oh, yeah.
They know how the system works. It's
Sure
the
they
same
do.
in every town.
Yep. Other than that, I'm still up in the air a lot with this electronics too. I wish we could change out the way we're doing it now, but because they can just increase their
Cost?
yeah, the cost to us just overnight, and they just send it in the bill and say that it just went up, and we're locked in. We're locked in January 1st. We have to do 3 containers.
But isn't that the minimum, Jim?
Yep.
We can do?
Yep, it's the
So-
minimum. We have to do that. But when we started, I don't know, I don't want to date myself here, but I want to say probably 7 or 8 years ago with them, it was $550 for a container with a minimum of 3 per year. Okay? Now we're up to $12.50 per container. I mean, that's a substantial increase. But everywhere you look for electronics disposal,
It's the same.
it's
yeah.
a tough
So
deal.
they're not messing with us. They're just passing their costs on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't want to change from them until we get some concrete place, because as soon as we get a bill from them, in that same envelope is our letter, our certificate stating that those electronics no longer belong to us.
Right.
We don't, if they take and ship them to
China.
Timbuktu.
China or whatever, and they're never going to come back on us. And that's a peace of mind, if nothing else.
That's big.
Yeah, it's real big. So that's why I said I don't really want to go away from them, but, I mean, man, the price is going up and up. And then you gotta increase our cost, and then you end up with what we just had last week.
Right.
Overabundance of it just not coming in. People throwing them out behind their sheds or whatever. And then all of a sudden when they got them for free, boy, they came out. So that's the only real item on that budget that I'm up in the air with, and
Now, when they raise the price, when does a price increase come in for that?
for the wells or for the electronics?
For the electronics.
Electronics.
Like I said, when I got a bill.
So,
I sent a container out.
Right.
Oh, let's say I sent a container out in April, the first one, and it was $850. And then when I sent the next one out in the end of September, the bill came in. It went up $200.
so
We're not locked in at $12.50 right now. We're locked in to 3 containers, whatever the price may be.
that sounds like a very bad way to do
I
business.
know. And there's no
But
way
they-
we can get out of
But
it.
they won't lock a price in?
Nope.
Does anybody?
I haven't found anybody that does it as easy as this. I mean, you can get it where you place it in Gaylords, and then you take and truck it here, and by the time you get done, you're going to pay as much, if not more, and you don't get that certificate.
Are we losing money on the electronics?
No, not right now, because we increased the price on
Yeah,
it.
okay. But you can only go so far on that before you start finding stuff beside the side of the road.
Exactly.
Oh, but we're gonna do that anyway.
Oh, yeah, you're not gonna stop that.
Right.
But in comparison
Yeah.
to other towns, we're not overcharging. If people go around to other towns and look,
Yeah.
they'll find it.
Well,
Our
yeah, that
pricing
that
is
may
right
be,
there.
but for an individual, you may get to the point where somebody says, well, I've got this 120-pound, 55-inch TV that doesn't work, I want to get rid of. I could take it down to the transfer station, or I could just take it halfway to the transfer station.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to give people ideas.
I will say that I don't find nearly as many now
Yeah,
as I used to.
yeah.
But
And we
they,
wanna keep-
they
we wanna
still
keep it
do
that
pop
way,
up. They still do pop up.
And
Yeah.
on Amnesty Day, we had plenty with mud on.
Oh, yes, we did. That was evident that they were outside, behind the shed, behind the
Yeah.
garage, somewhat like that.
All right.
And they may have stayed there if we didn't
All right.
have the Sandy Day.
All right, for now, let's just keep that figure where it is. You know,
Yep.
we're, to a certain extent, we play a guessing game here.
Yep.
Okay, I move that we recommend a budget of 145,238 for the Transfer Station Recycling Center for 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that motion carries.
I got a quick question.
Sure.
Do we have a figure for that Amnesty Day yet? Of the
Nope.
total cost of it?
No, we don't. Not yet. Almost.
What,
Okay.
what
I've
do
got to
we
wait
need?
for the bills to come in.
Oh, okay, all right,
And with the weights and stuff from.
yeah. Did you fill a container of electronics?
Is that some type of a joke?
No, I don't know, I don't know.
Oh,
We
God.
filled two. We're going to be filling 2 containers.
Wow.
I'm hoping
Wow.
that the second one isn't full enough, too full, so we can't
Yeah.
carry out the rest of the year.
Right.
When's the next container going out?
The next container goes out. It's the third one. We're on our third one right now.
Right.
So when it goes out,
So
we
it just hasn't gone out because it's not filled yet?
no, it just came in.
Oh, I see,
They
okay. all right.
just delivered it a week ago tomorrow.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I got about 200 pounds of electronics that I didn't get a chance to get down there. So I'm gonna save them for next year.
That's like one TV in the old days.
That's 2 TVs, actually.
I dropped off one
That's a
TV of
one- that's a 120
155
and an
pounds.
80.
$68 worth.
I have a 50-inch TV that weighs 120 pounds. I'm replacing it with one that was 55 inches that weighs 30 pounds.
Yeah, when you bring that one in, we'll measure it.
Yeah,
We
they
won't
don't
weigh it.
They don't weigh it. They measure it.
All right. Okay, so we're all set on that. So now the next one is the Samuel E. Paul Community Center. Okay, so last year we budgeted 16,641 and we want to increase that to 19,220. Let's go down line by line. Custodian. We budgeted 1,800 and we spent 3,100. So we're budgeting 5,465. How did that
What
happen?
happened was that was supposed to be split between Bobby's budget and my portion of the budget.
Right.
And it didn't get split. It all went on to me.
Okay, all right.
I
So that'd
believe
be-
that's
Well-
how it went, wasn't it?
So
I don't know if it was supposed to be split. Once the selectmen decided to remove this custodian from and separate the two,
Yeah,
you were supposed to get all of it.
right.
Right, and it
That's
didn't.
after
I
the
didn't.
Okay, that should have happened 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yes, I didn't.
Okay. That would account for the increase in the bottom line here.
Right.
And also, are we looking at like times that it's not being rented out and it's still getting cleaned, even though it's been cleaned prior? Or is this just a salary position that it doesn't matter? It cleans every week,
That's it.
whether it needs it or not.
That's right.
Your public beach insurance, we budgeted 1246, spent 0, and we're budgeting $1. Are we now covered under the town policy? Is that it?
It must be covered because they didn't separate it out when we got the new insurance.
That's still the same company, right?
Yeah, well, it is. It's Primex, the one we switched over to last year.
Right. Okay, so they just bill differently
Right, and I just put the dollar in there in case.
in case we have to go
something
back to
comes
it.
up
Yeah.
and we have
Okay. Propane going from 1,000 to 1,200 based on actual usage. Okay. Now, Social Security, we budgeted $12.93. We only spent $224, and we're budgeting $500.
No, that's gonna change,
Okay.
okay?
What happened there?
No, I just have to go in and enter the social security taxes separate
Okay,
in
all
the
right.
system.
And same thing on workers' comp.
Yes,
We budgeted over 1,000, and we haven't spent nearly close to that.
that's because we got that huge drop when we switched
Yeah.
companies.
Okay, good. All right.
I do have an increase here, I don't know if you caught it on line item 500.
Yeah.
And that is, I want to try and hydroseed after I take some of the loam that we screened at the highway van
Yeah.
and put on that lower field that we took all the dredging
Right.
last.
Yeah.
Right?
And last year I had the excavator and go in there and level it all off.
Right.
Well, now there's a lot of stones poking up and whatnot, so we
Okay.
gotta rake that all off and put in a little loam, and I wanna hydroseed it.
Yeah. Sounds like a good
But I
idea.
wanna wait till spring to do it because it's only grows
Okay.
good 1 year and then it's gotta set its own roots.
Okay. So in that line, we actually we didn't budget anything last year, but we spent 900. So we'll go to 1,500, but that sounds like a worthwhile project. Okay. Barbara, any questions?
No.
Curtis, any questions?
Just a custodian, is you factoring that in for guaranteed salary pay?
What?
Well, it's not salaried. I think you mean guaranteed number of hours.
Right, we guarantee him 15 hours
Right.
a week,
Right. He's scheduled 15 hours.
for both town hall and community center.
Right.
I averaged it out at 10 hours a week for 52 weeks to come up with that number.
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, Alissa said she averages it out for the whole year.
All right,
To
because I know that's going to be questioned at the budget committee.
Yeah.
Being cleaned when it doesn't need to be, or if it's already been cleaned, it hasn't been rented out. Just an FYI.
All right. We'll deal with it. Okay, so I recommend, I move that we recommend a budget of $19,220 for the Samuel E. Paul Community Center for 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Motion carries.
Boy, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Nope.
There
Painless.
really wasn't that many changes.
No.
No, I think the only thing will be getting someone hired, if we can.
Yeah, but
Before the
until we go to
snow
budget
flies.
committee, we don't even think about that. That's your big hurdle. We have to convince the folks in the budget committee that this is absolutely necessary.
For the town it is, I think,
Yeah, yeah,
for the well-being of people to get out of their driveway to go to work.
yeah. Okay, thanks, Jim.
All right.
See you tomorrow.
Oh, am I working tomorrow?
Yeah,
Yeah.
bye.
Okay. I want to revisit something that we talked about last week. Last week, we voted to increase the salaries of everybody in town, all town employees, by 3% for 2018. But we also said that we were going to absorb the increase in health insurance premiums. And I'm not sure that we should be doing that.
Well, that's not a problem now. We checked on health insurance, it's going down 6.2%.
Fine, then it's a dead issue.
Correct.
Okay, then I have nothing further to say on that.
Okay, then we're done.
Okay, Barbara, do you have anything else?
Curtis, has your dad, mentioned to you why he has not repaired the community center door yet?
I can't hear what you're saying. It's breaking.
Has your father mentioned to you why he has not repaired the community center door yet?
Last I heard, they were waiting on parts for the door.
Still, it's 2 months.
I honestly don't know what parts they are. I can call them again, but I haven't actually talked to him for a little while about that. So
Okay, would you follow up
I
on
can
it?
text him when I get off this, and or give him a call and find out what's going on with it.
Just, you don't have to do it tonight. Just let us know by next Monday's meeting. How's that?
That'll work.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Anything else, Barb?
No, that's it.
Okay. Curtis, do you have anything?
Not at this time, though.
Okay. Alissa?
No.
Nothing. Mr. Rose?
Mr. Chairman, I would actually just like to thank you. I attended the school board meeting last week,
I know, saw you there.
and I just want to thank you for getting up and speaking up for the town, and I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Anything else?
That's it, sir.
Mrs. Rose? Nothing? Okay. Then this meeting is adjourned. Oh, nobody else, anything else? Okay.
No, we're
Okay,
good.
then I move that we adjourn at 7:36 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned at 7:30. What is that, Curtis?
He said aye.
Oh, okay. Meeting is adjourned at 7:36 PM.